Hello and welcome back to the channel. The manhwa we are going to recap today is about a girl who reincarnated as the character despised by her favorite character in the novel. So let's begin with our recap. The most beautiful woman on the continent, the emperor's most treasured jewel, the queen of high society and the time bomb of the imperial palace, Agnes Saint. However, the current Agnes is just a lowly healer assigned to the knights. Just a girl trailing behind others in muddy boots. Someone casually says to her that they've already finished patrolling the area for monsters, and if she's curious, she can check it out too. In other words, go die if you want, we're done here. The audacity of this man to say such a thing to the prettiest woman in the empire. He probably thinks she only knows how to dress up and admire herself in the mirror. He wonders how she'll survive a real mission. This man is none other than the commander of the Black Knights, Kylo Grey. And yes, he's single. He adds that the weapon she'll be issued is a small pistol. Agnes just smiles and replies that she'll be fine and she'll come back. Kylo's aide turns to him and whispers, "Is this really okay? What if things get dangerous?" But Kylo shrugs. If she's that scared, she can go crying to the king. That snarky way of speaking. That habit of being sarcastic. That emotionally unavailable attitude where basic empathy is nowhere to be found. This crazy girl actually finds it cute. Seems like she's got a soul-deep fetish for red flags. She's internally screaming, how can he not be cute when he purrs like this? She's literally fangirling. How can he be this handsome with that cold expression and those sarcastic little jabs? It's killing me working with him. Forget work. She's in full simp mode. Honestly, can't blame her. Girl's a diehard fan of Kylo Grey. So basically, her death in her past life was a mistake. She wasn't supposed to die not long ago. She transmigrated into this novel world as compensation for her unjust death. Oh my god, I want this kind of unjust death too. But there's a problem. The character she became? She's been hopelessly courting a man for a long time. She has the worst possible relationship with her favorite character, yes, Kylo. And she's infamous for her temper, aka, she's a full-blown villainess. At this rate, there's no way she could change the original plot, let alone get close to Kylo. At least, that's what she thought. But nope. God had other plans. One day, Kylo's father suddenly announces that he's appointing her as the official magus of the Black Knights. Did she hesitate? Not even for a second. She jumps up, says yes, and snatches the opportunity like her life depends on it. She still can't believe it. Screw the original storyline, our girl just wants her man. Let the empire burn, she's going to get her romance arc. She'd love to make a dramatic fuss about her appointment. But Kylo, he's like a skittish kitten. He'll run the moment she gets too clingy. So she plans it all out. She'll fake a heartbreak, act like she's been rejected by the man she's been courting, and naturally, she'll mature overnight because, well, that's what we girls do after a heartbreak. Then, she'll start subtly boosting Kylo's self-esteem until one day, Kylo comes up to her all concerned, if she is feeling dizzy. And she'll be like, yes, boy. She is feeling dizzy, and she'll use this chance to fill her selfish little heart. Honestly, the plotting is immaculate, the delusion is powerful. She plans it so that by the time the Imperial Fall Festival comes around, and she appears beside Kylo, everyone's heads will turn. Why? Because the Empire's most eligible man will be standing next to the woman everyone thought was a lost cause. And by her Delulu master plan, Kylo will be seen as the opponent that the princess abandoned the hero to empower him, a man worthy of being the new center of power. She smirks to herself and whispers, as long as she is here, her man's gonna be walking on a flowery path. Finally, she's now standing in front of her favorite previous baddie, Kylo. She's finally met him. But wait, did this girly pop just slap him? She's literally so speechless right now. Her hand just moves on its own, and the cherry on top? She slaps him 3 times. She remembers seeing posts like this on social media, like what they will do if they ever meet their fave character. And she's like, why would she even think of what she'd do? What she should be doing is making him the happiest man alive. Back to reality. Agnes is just standing there like, she wanna see him happy, so why the hell am she slapping him like this? Finally, Kylo grabs her hand. Agnes tells him to let go, but deep down, she's begging him not to. Man, she's that someone who got. BFFs are out here crying for her. But the protagonist is like, they're not even filthy at all, and she's genuinely shook that he's touched her. So, not only has Agnes slapped him, but now she's also out here speaking nonsense. She got reincarnated into this novel, and this is what's happening. She's like, this has gotta be a dream. It has to be. And after slapping him straight up 3 times, she suddenly hugs him. Kylo literally laughs and is like, there is no one worse than her. To her, there are many roles a person can play, like the most cherished gem of the Empire, the queen of social disasters, and lastly, the ticking bomb of the Empire. But in reality, at the banquet celebrating the end of the war, she's just a drunken princess making a scene. Kylo finds her absolutely pathetic. So, looks like we're going full send into the enemies to lovers trope. Hurrah! The royal family who always neglected her doesn't even get a chance to complain. Kylo orders them to escort her straight to the prince's palace immediately. In this entire situation, he can't even utter a single complaint fast enough. Everything is so deeply miserable right now. The next morning, Agnes is sitting like a full-on ajumma and she's thinking maybe it was all a dream. But no. It was way too vivid to be one. Slapping her favorite character Kylo right after reincarnating and then getting totally subdued after that? She's devastated. Like, she died in her old life, and she's really salty about it. Especially 'cause she died on her way back from her fave birthday cafe. But the real reason she died? Even more unfair. We see a god appear and say to her, it might be her first time seeing a god. This god, who apparently oversees the system, tells Agnes that, oopsie, there was a glitch in the soul collecting system. She can't believe it. Her death was just a mistake. The god's like, yup, that's right. The protagonist is like, okay, then just send her back. But the god's like, girl, her body already decayed. And she's like, if she had knew this was gonna happen, she would have never saved those fanfics to read later. Exactly. That's why you need to finish your TBR, girl. Since it was the god's mistake, she says she'll take responsibility. And suggest, as her way of fixing it, Agnes gets to start a new life wherever she wants. Could even be a fictional world? Without even thinking, the protagonist blurts out that she wants to meet her favorite character. But now, she's pissed. Because she asked to meet him, not to slap him. But there's an even bigger problem. Light purple hair, purple eyes, and a striking feline appearance. She's doomed. Because she's the villainess in the novel Infinite Splash. It's about the overpowered male protagonist Raymond fighting demons, and it's so popular on social media that it's called the ultimate geek unification. It attracts fans from literally every genre. And Agnes? She's just a pure chasing character for Raymond. Well, that's what the description said. But honestly, calling her purely innocent is a stretch. Y'all might be wondering, how bad is she, really? So, at the end of War Banquet, she literally stands up and goes, what the hell did the other knights even do besides Sir Spencer? Like, she straight up calls them parasites. And that's not even the worst part. Drunk off her royal butt, she even storms up to the Black Knights and yells, how dare you all cause trouble for Sir Spencer? And the person who comes up to her? It's Kylo. The Black Knight, former leader, street mercenary, eternal rival of the world's protagonist, Raymond. He grits his teeth like he just gave her a command. Kylo hates Raymond because of his massive inferiority complex, his origins, everything. Every time he sees Raymond, he curses him and mocks him. And thanks to all that drama, Kylo and Agnes are the top villain pairing of the entire fandom. The arrogant princess and the foul-mouthed knight. They don't just not like each other. They despise each other. But our protagonist is like, why the hell is she now his biggest fan? And why does she have to become his favorite hater? Everything is a mess. Girl, this is just the start. 10 days after reincarnation, she's finally starting to live in her own body. As she's getting dressed, the maid asks softly if it still hurts. Agnes says, a little. At first, she honestly thought it was some kind of possession, but the so-called god clearly said she would reincarnate her first, then fast forward all the novel memories to her. And that's exactly what happened. Agnes's mind right now is jam-packed with vivid memories of living as a Agnes. Although these memories are full of stuff she never wanted to know, that doesn't mean she's about to give up or roll over. She casually asks the maid if she might have caused a tiny bit of trouble at yesterday's party. And then, just like that, she's like, she wanna see Kylo. She's that down bad. From now on, she's ready to do whatever it takes to get close to her precious Kylo. Kylo, the man, the myth, the warhound. Her maid, alarmed, practically screams, asking Agnes if she's actually thinking of doing something reckless. She blurts out that even if she understands her young lady is hurting, she should refrain from cutting his wrist. Agnes is standing there blinking like, "Girl, what?" She waves it off, super confused why they're being so dramatic. She's just going to meet her favorite man. Like, is that such a crime? She's just really glad she can finally have a proper greeting with Kylo, darling. She seriously doesn't get why everyone's making a scene about this. Let's be real. Kylo belongs to the Black Knights, the most chaotic squad under the Imperial Order. The Order's got 4 divisions. The Blue Knights, no fixed territory but top-tier swordsmen. The White Knights, skill and status rolled into one. The Red Knights, all about elite magic. And then, the Black Knights. The Black Knights are the Empire's designated problem children. Super skilled, but also super unhinged. Warhounds who charge the front lines like rabid dogs. Their reputation is trash, thanks to their scandals, threats, and embezzlement. Kylo, their leader, was always discriminated against. He was isolated and hated, and for some reason, that loneliness mirrored something deep in Agnes. During her school years, she fell for him hard. So she did everything she could to promote him in fandom spaces, but he was just so unlikable that it didn't matter. Then came the incident. The first part of the novel wrapped up, and the Empire won the war. But the king was clearly pissed. Monsters were coming back immediately after the Great War with the demons had ended. When monsters suddenly appeared in civilian areas, they turned to the High Priest. And he dropped the ultimate truth bomb. If they wanted to fix the cracks in the world, they needed to eliminate the source. And that source was located at the top of the snowy mountains, aka the end of the world. But here's the thing. Only a few people in the world had the power to eliminate it. Just 2 candidates in the entire Empire: Raymond Spencer, the golden boy with brains and brawn, and Kylo, the seasoned combat monster with zero tactical finesse but unreal battle instincts. This meant one of them had to die. Guess who stepped up? It wasn't golden boy Raymond. It was Kylo. Even Agnes, our reincarnated protagonist, was like, "Bro, why is it you?" But Kylo realized something. On the journey back to the capital after the war, he watched everyone praise Raymond non-stop. It hit him like a truck. No matter how much he fought or suffered, he could never become the hero. He could never defeat Raymond in the eyes of the world. So, he left behind a single letter and vanished. He sacrificed himself at the rift, saying, "A hero cannot die." That moment completely rewrote his image. The fandom flipped. Kylo was finally being recognized, and social media went feral. The DMs blew up. Fan clubs exploded. A cafe even opened under his name. But what's the point, right? He's dead. That's what everyone thought. But not anymore. Agnes is done letting the story play out like this. From now on, everything's gonna change. She tells him mentally, of course, to just wait for her. She's going to pave a flower path just for him. Only to immediately walk into the weirdest scene ever. Kylo, the infamous Black Knight, is sitting on the floor in front of her like a kicked puppy. Her brain short-circuits. She turns to the knight like, "What in the hell is this?" They say the chief ordered preparations for her visit and they had to restrain Kylo so he wouldn't run away. She flips out, yelling at them to let him go right now. They do. And the moment he's released, she boots the knights out of the room. She's so done. Like, she's just trying to act normal and have a cute little reunion, and this keeps happening. Kylo, deadly serious, says she can cut his wrist. After all, he dared to lay a finger on her. Agnes is just standing there like, "Boy, what are you on?" He looks her dead in the eyes and tells her again to just do it. Cut his wrist. Seem like he seriously hate him SEO. She tells him flat out she's not cutting his wrist. Why would she do that to her favorite? Then Kylo gets even weirder. If not the wrist, is it his neck? Do you want to cut that instead? Then he asks totally serious, would it please her more if he took off his knight uniform? Agnes is just like, BRUH. Grimboy Kylo is out here acting like a dramatic Victorian man, and she's about to lose it. All she can think about is, if he actually takes off that uniform, will she really see his six-pack? Priorities, people. Kylo is stunned. Agnes, the same girl who tackled him like a rugby ball yesterday and practically confessed with her whole face, is now saying, what? She's pretending like she doesn't care. Like she wants to forget what happened. She's asking him to erase it from his memory. Let's just forget about yesterday. she says, eyes locked firmly on the floor like it personally offended her. She's so nervous she can't even look at him. And Kylo? Kylo is just standing there like, wait, is she serious? Yes. Yes, she is. Or at least she's pretending to be. There's so much she wants to say to him, so many things she wants him to know, but this is the best route. After all, what kind of lunatic woman showers him with slaps out of nowhere one day, only to play it cool the next? She's not just a troublemaker, she's also a pervert. That's not a combo she wants him to figure out too early. So her new master plan? Approach him slowly. Very slowly. Like a suspicious cat approaching a bowl of water. Starting now, she's going to act totally normal. Perfectly normal. She's going to play the part of a stable, emotionally grounded woman. What a bold lie. Kylo, meanwhile, gets up completely confused. He had been so sure Agnes had summoned him to kick him out of the Knights. And now she's telling him to forget about yesterday? Forget it? What the hell is she thinking? He hadn't expected her to end things like this with such a casual little statement. And now he's wondering, does she maybe have an innocent side after all? Who would have thought? To Kylo, it honestly feels like he's scored a point. Don't tell me he's already falling in love. It hasn't even been a week. What is this? A romance novel. Days later, Agnes is curled up in her palace, pretending to be sick. After organizing the entire plot of the original story in her head, she's come to a tragic realization. Her reputation is in the gutter. Like, 6 feet under. After that ridiculous incident at the last party, where she practically slapped a noble while possibly drunk, the elite society, including the snobby prince types, have blacklisted her like expired tea. And now even Kylo's reputation could be in danger, simply by standing near her flaming wreck of a public image. She's depressed, fully enough to lie in bed and contemplate the ceiling mode. There isn't even a single excuse she can use to escape this fate. Not one. And then knock knock. A servant announces that the king has called for her. Agnes sighs like she's been summoned to her execution. Whatever the novel has planned, it's going to happen anyway. She tells the maid she's coming, but in her mind, she's already packing her bags. No way she's surviving this. She's about to get kicked out of the imperial palace. After all, this empire ruled by the saintly family she was born into developed the only magical weapon capable of killing monsters. Peace and power in one shiny package. So, her family's kind of a big deal. Including her father, Emperor Alexander. She enters the audience chamber. And there he is, her dad. The king. The two of them lock eyes. Deep down, he's just a father worried sick about his daughter. But on the surface, he wears the cold, royal mask of an emperor. To her, he was always a doting dad, sometimes to the point of absurdity. He knows he can't always cover up her messes, but look at her now. So pathetic. So exhausted. She looks exactly like his late wife. The resemblance is uncanny. No wonder he's so weak to her antics. Still, he has to act. To deal with Agnes's scorched earth reputation, the emperor has come up with his final move. He asks her if she's heard the rumors. Oh, she has. She practically stars in them. Until her image recovers, he tells her, she has to leave the capital. For readers, this was the best thing. But Agnes? She is shattered. Leave the capital? Absolutely not. That means she won't be able to see Kylo. Is this how her love story ends? Absolutely not. She flat out refuses. Eyes gleaming with mischief, Elsh looks at her father like, try me, old man. Now the emperor has to get creative. He says if she won't accept this punishment, he'll have to come up with a new one. Will she be okay with that? Agnes nods. She's ready. She'll take anything. Cleaning the stables? Sure. Confiscating all her jewelry? She deserves that. Moving into the servant quarters? Bring it on. She's down bad. She will do anything for Kylo. The king sighs. Fine. Her new punishment? She'll be appointed as the Mage of the Black Knights. Agnes ascends to the 9th cloud. Literally. She's floating. The king watches this reaction and sighs again. He knew she wouldn't refuse this either. He starts thinking of another idea. But Agnes cuts him off. Nope. Done. She accepts this. The royal family, especially those born with powerful magic like her, were always expected to join the White Knights. Her older brother is a member. So is the crown prince. Agnes? She's been technically enlisted for ages. But she never actually did anything. Because honestly, the paperwork, the training, the missions? So annoying. Now she's being reassigned to the Black Knights? She's thrilled. She says he can change her division right now. She'll pack. She'll march. She'll do it today. The Emperor is now truly worried. He starts asking for a doctor because clearly, this is not his daughter. Where is the spoiled little gremlin who used to sneak cake into the royal archives? Who is this work-ready, determined woman? And Agnes? She's smiling like the Holy Spirit just gifted her Kylo on a silver platter. No more schemes. No more pretending. She's going to see him every day now. She's so in love. The scene opens with hushed murmurs rippling through the crowd like a breeze through scandal. They ask each other they have heard that the king went too far this time, one whispers. He actually threw a royal blood into the Black Knights. Another gasps. Everyone agrees that while Agnes might have a difficult personality, she's still a young lady, delicate, dramatic, and tragically allergic to responsibility. The nobles murmur sympathetically, claiming she must not be feeling well. Surely, all that confidence of hers has cracked under pressure, and that's why she isn't present today. Sirius of the White Knights, who is allergic to gossip but somehow always in the middle of it, snorts that people really love backstabbing. Hugo, another White Knight, pipes up in Agnes' defense. He says it's not like she's some nobody, the nobles don't fall that hard for just anyone. Sirius, already walking off, waves a hand like he's shooing away annoying pigeons, muttering that he really can't stand ladies like that and refuses to hear another word. Hugo, ever the gentleman, at least in his head, watches him leave and sighs. Everyone knows Sirius acts like a noble knight but is, in fact, a certified pervert who just knows how to wear a good poker face. Diana, the vice captain of the White Knights, steps into the room like she's about to write someone up. Ask where's Sirius? As he was here just a second ago. Hazel, the proud diva of the White Knights and also the story's official female lead, is here too. Hugo rolls his eyes and reports. He left. He said he couldn't stand the criticism of Agnes and stormed off. Meanwhile, Dania thinks that Agnes is still Damien's little sister even if she's got the personality of a firework in a crowded room. She's still a friend's sibling, and it's not cool to badmouth her like that. Saint Lily finally arrives, floating in like a ray of divine awkwardness. She questions if the White Knights all here? Blinking innocently. Hugo tells her they were talking about Agnes. Lily nods gravely that SJE has heard. She never thought the king would make such a harsh decision. Hugo, blushing so hard he might combust, quietly agrees. Lily, after all, is the Empire's golden underdog story. Once just a powerless commoner, one morning she woke up with a divine revelation and got promoted straight to saint. At first, no one took her seriously. Nobles made fun of her, some even flirted with her like she was a prize cabbage at a market. But after purifying a few demons and saving some highly dramatic nobles from cursed love letters, the same people started treating her like royalty. Now, she's slowly getting addicted to being admired. And lately, her gaze keeps slipping toward Hugo, the walking duke in training with great hair and decent morals. While Hugo thinks this Black Knight situation might be for the best, more discipline, less drama, and possibly fewer magic-fueled property damages, Lily is busy thinking deeper thoughts. Like how Agnes probably never approved of her in the first place. I mean, she's a commoner. But still, thanks to this royal chaos, she now gets to look more pitiful and mysterious. That's a win. Lily chuckles inwardly. Men are simple creatures. She doesn't even need to seduce Hugo. She just needs to exist and act slightly tragic. She points that she thinks Hazel's the one happiest about Agnes not coming to the ceremony. Lily actually respects, the other being the crown prince, and Raymond, one of the only two men in the Empire. Finally steps. Lily rushes to her, saying that they were talking about how Hazel must be happy to not have Agnes at this banquet, but Raymond looks up at her, confused. Why would Hazel be happy? Lily nearly slips up. She was about to say something spicy but catches herself. Never mind. I was just rambling like a peasant again, she says, feigning innocence. This dumb Hugo, who clearly left his emotional intelligence at the training yard, is like, she don't have to worry about that. Diana groans in the background. She can already tell Lily is the type to keep people in check with a smile and 10 veiled threats. Meanwhile, Hugo still thinks they're having a wholesome moment. Back to our tragic heroine, Agnes, the undisputed center of unintentional chaos. She has no idea this whole debate club is being held in her honor. Inside her chambers, Her loyal maid Daisy is ready to cry into a handkerchief, wonders how could the king do this to her. Agnes, meanwhile, is busy being delusional. She mutters that Kylo probably hates her and will use this opportunity to torment her endlessly. But in her mind, that doesn't sound so bad. Daisy gets worried if Agnes have a fever as her face is completely red. Agnes, caught being down bad, quickly brushes it off. Daisy is about to call the palace physician. She reassures Daisy that she's totally fine, just excited for her exciting new punishment career. She's even grateful Daisy is the only maid who's not scared of her. No matter what kind of people these Black Knights are, Agnes says dramatically, she is sure there won't be that much work. The war's over anyway. Daisy, already preparing ice packs and headache medicine, just nods. Okay, but Agnes knows better. The people of the Empire are busy celebrating their win against the devils. No one knows peace is temporary, and in 6 months, the demons will return. But this time, Agnes is ready. She plans to stop the tragedy before it happens and then give Kylo all the credit. Now that's loyalty. That's love. That's royal level delusion. And just as she's practicing her imaginary award speech, a visitor arrives. The crown prince himself walks in. Agnes blinks, confused. Why is he here? She asks with the tone of someone greeting a debt collector. The crown prince smirks that she is still the same. Not even a bow. Of course not. If she starts bowing now, she might never stop rolling on the floor in agony over Kylo. Priorities. The king and the crown prince are walking together when the king remarks that Agnes has been acting really strange lately. He says the doctors claim there's nothing physically wrong with her, but he can't believe she didn't throw a fit about not being allowed to attend the party. Nor did she react at all to the news about the Black Knights. The crown prince agrees, saying she's completely out of her mind. The king suspects that his beloved daughter might have been cursed by some strange magic book, especially with how rampant those things have been lately. But the crown prince doubts that even a curse would make her go this crazy. The king then asks the crown prince to go check on her himself. After all, he's her only brother. With no way to refuse, the crown prince sighs and agrees to go. When he arrives, Agnes asks him how he got there without prior notice. The crown prince, observing the surroundings, notes that there is no suspicious book or magical artifact around her. He then asks Daisy if she is the daughter of Duke Lothian. She replies with a bright smile and confirms it. He asks her politely if they can have a moment alone, as he needs to talk to his sister. Daisy takes her leave, but as soon as she does, the atmosphere turns cold. The crown prince gazes at Agnes, questioning if she is deliberately trying to make their father worry. He warns that if she continues to behave like this, she won't be able to find a decent partner even if she becomes queen. Agnes is speechless. He tells her not to damage their family's reputation. Their father may think she's adorable and keep checking on her like this, but he himself is not so lenient. From now on, he expects her to do her duties properly, starting with the Black Knights. He demands an answer, clearly expecting an indignant response. But instead, she simply says, okay. He is utterly shocked, unsure if this woman in front of him is really his sister. Meanwhile, Agnes wonders why this man is making such a face even after getting exactly the answer he wanted. He clears his throat and reminds her not to forget the promise she just made. He then leaves. Agnes, meanwhile, thinks to herself that she's really happy to have a family, something she never had in her previous life. Still, she can't help but wonder why her brother is so prickly. He acts all polite and friendly in front of others, but always seems mad and annoyed with her. She admits she's done a lot of things that might warrant such treatment, but still wonders who would ever marry a man like him. She watches an airplane flying in the sky of this cutting-edge era where golden golems walk through fields. Infinite Splash is a world that combines tradition with steampunk. She thinks that if she were in her right mind, she might have done something truly terrible to him, but she didn't. After all, today is the day she finally joins the Black Knights. As she gets dressed, she thinks the Black Knight's uniform looks much better than the White Knight's. She's daydreaming about wearing a couple's outfit with Kylo. The maids, meanwhile, are confused about whether they should compliment her or if she'll scream at them for doing so. Agnes and the maids eventually exchange a few words. She asks them if they think the uniform looks good on her. They reassure her that it looks amazing. Agnes is genuinely pleased, but the maids are still deeply confused and ask her again if she is truly fine with all of this. She assures them that she is. After all, she can't just do as she pleases her whole life. She wants to show the virtue of her family. Her words are almost too much for the maids to comprehend. She tells them they can leave now, as she is going out. The maids wish her good luck. Agnes is all set to start her new life and show her new side to Kylo. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Kylo's aide asks if he really thinks Agnes will come today. Kylo bets that she won't, assuming she'll delay her arrival by a few days. But a few days later, Kylo is standing before the Emperor, who begins talking to him about Agnes. The Emperor recalls that Agnes's mother died when she was still a child, and that's why people think she is selfish and emotionally unstable. In truth, she's very fragile. She used to get terrified just seeing a patient with symptoms similar to her mother's. Even when her baby died, she moved like a lifeless corpse. The Emperor knows he's being too soft on his daughter, but he can't help it. Treating her like this is more difficult than handling political affairs. Kylo wonders if the Emperor summoned him just to ask him to go easy on Agnes again. He scoffs internally at the thought of another theatrical plea. But then his eyes widen when the Emperor says that Agnes really can't go on living like this forever. The Emperor explains that he's heard of Kylo's performance in the Frontier War and how he did a great job. So he believes that if Kylo can fight demons, he can also handle Agnes this time and make her taste the bitterness of life. Kylo asks if the Emperor means that he doesn't have to give her any special treatment. The Emperor confirms this is exactly what he wants. He wants Kylo to treat her like any other subordinate. Kylo doesn't fully understand the Emperor's intentions. After all, the imperial authority of Agnes's family is significant. All she really needs to do is catch the Emperor's attention, and she could easily crush her stepmother and step-siblings. She could even take back her chance to stand as queen. Despite all this, Kylo never expected her to actually come. But to everyone's surprise, she is here. They allow her to enter, and people start murmuring in disbelief that she's really coming on her own. Whatever else is said about her, this girl is undeniably beautiful. They can't believe that she is here, and that they didn't have to send someone to drag her in. To him, it seems like she still thinks this is a dollhouse game. He informs her that he got orders from the king not to give her any special treatment, so he wonders if she came wearing the uniform to submit to him. This makes her flinch, but she responds that she will forget about the unsavory selfishness of the past and trust that he will lead her without discrimination, like he does the other members. Kylo wonders if she's trying to flatter him right now. Then he gives her the letter of appointment, and she officially becomes a member of the Black Knights. Kylo thinks back to how people used to look down on him for being an illegitimate child, and among them, Agnes was the one who didn't just look down on him, she used to stare at him like she could see into his past, making him feel like the most useless scum in the world. He thinks that no matter how afraid she is of the king, she isn't someone who would easily throw away her pride. But today, something new about her attitude is different, and he can't figure out what in the world she's thinking. Meanwhile, she's thinking that Kylo's sarcastic voice sounds really good. She wonders how the hell he's this handsome, how even his chest is sexy, and how even his handwriting has power. Even his personality is like a cat. Kylo is still convinced that she must have something planned under her sleeve. Kylo then informs her that they will give her her first mission. This Delialu girl knows no limits. She immediately thinks it might be a date with him. But instead, he tells her that a sector on the eastern outskirts of the capital is beginning to recover from war damage. However, before construction personnel can enter, the Black Knights must first patrol the area to make sure there are no remaining monsters. He orders her to go there alone. So basically, they're sending a healing magician with only one pistol and no combat fighter, a setup that sounds more like a death sentence. But that's not what she's upset about. She's upset because she thought her first mission would be a romantic outing with Kylo. The reality is that Kylo hasn't even told Jeremy about this. While visiting the incarcerated members, Kylo already patrolled the AO-15 area and cleared it. It just wasn't announced, all to suppress the princess. The village is empty. All civilians have been evacuated. Buildings still bear the scars of war, and just seeing that kind of tension where anything could pop out will stop the princess from saying careless things like she used to. In fact, if it weren't for the king's orders, Kylo wouldn't have done this to her. But now that she's an adult, and since he knows nothing truly dangerous will happen, he considers it a fine decision. Jeremy takes his leave. Meanwhile, we see Sirius, who seems to be in a flustered state. He tells Raymond that Kylo is really a crazy man. Raymond asks what he's reporting. Sirius says the report doesn't matter as much, because on the way back, he heard Kylo send the princess to Sector A-15. Sirius is mad because that area hasn't even been properly re-examined, and the only weapon she took was a small pistol. Raymond asks him if this is the same Kylo who caused minor issues during the war and still managed to earn merit. He thinks that everything during the war was done cleanly, and any mistakes were met with only mild punishment in the end. He knows Kylo is not someone who acts without thinking. If someone blinded by power were doing this, it would be obvious they're trying to provoke the Emperor. But it's still possible that Kylo is simply trying to discourage the princess. Still, he wonders what if the princess gets hurt? Raymond seriously considers going out himself to check on her, but he's stuck with night patrol duty. He tells Sirius that he'll go instead and check on the princess to make sure she's doing okay. This makes Sirius genuinely relieved. As he leaves, Sirius scoffs, thinking that Kylo really considers the Black Knights to be on some next-level game. Raymond, on the other hand, feels overwhelmed by the drama. He's really at his limit. He thought things would be easier once Agnes's affiliation was transferred to the Black Knights. He thought he wouldn't have to worry about her childish behavior anymore. But now she's dragging him down again, even on her first day. As usual, he wonders if maybe this whole mess was actually caused by her, not Kylo. Her selfish courtship and blind interest are burdensome and exhausting. This time, he truly feels like he won't be able to take it anymore if he has to stay close to her. Meanwhile, on the other side, she finally reaches Sector AF-15. Meanwhile, Raymond and Agnes are heading towards the AF-15 sector. At the Black Knight office, a commander approaches Kylo, informing him that he will go and finish the fieldwork in the AF-15 area. Kylo's eyes widen as he questions, wasn't that area already completed yesterday? But Victor explains that the work was too much. The girl who was with him yesterday got scared, thinking that her cat went missing, and they rushed back. Now, they have to return to complete the job. This makes Kylo really worked up. He jumps up from his chair, thinking that he really shouldn't have left this task in their hands. Meanwhile, at the AF-15 sector, the guard flinches upon seeing Agnes and asks what she is doing there. She thinks that maybe they weren't informed she was asked to come here, and if a Black Knight member is present, then surely they are the ones assigned to patrol. The fact that they are asking her reason to be here makes her feel like this place was already patrolled. She responds that she is here by the order of Kylo, so they let her in. Walking in, she thinks that she somehow expected this, that Kylo will not harm her. After all, our baby cat might be rude, sarcastic, full of insecurities, and lacking in manners, but he will never cause her harm. He is not a bad cat, and she is sure he must have liked the little trick meant to scare her. How cute. But regardless of all that, this place is really a mess. At least it's a relief that the residents were evacuated in advance, so there are no casualties. It was really not wrong for the people to praise Raymond as a hero. He has a brilliant strategy to understand the movement of the demons, leading almost every battle to victory. Plus, he is handsome and smart. With the tragic past of losing his mother to demons, he is the ultimate star, adored by everyone. But because of his brilliance, other knights are overshadowed. Unlike Raymond, who commands, Kylo is the one who fights at the front lines, and she is really angry that no one gives him credit. So, to boost his spirit, she plans to act scared when she gets back. But then, she hears something. A black figure. She wonders if this is a monster. Now she questions if this area was really unchecked, or if they didn't check it at all. She gets scared, but fortunately, it's just a black cat. It seems used to humans, gently brushing up against her. Maybe it was the resident's pet that got left behind during evacuation. The cat is badly injured, so she heals it, and the cat is perfectly fine now. She says to the cat that she was bored anyway, and that they should go together to patrol. After that, she plans to find its owner and return it. But then she hears something again. A monster from the back is approaching her. That was not just a cat, but a real monster. She starts walking back slowly, wondering if this is how it ends. The monster leaps toward her, but just in time, Kylo appears and slashes it away. Damn, our hero is here. Blood splashes onto her face as Kylo asks if she is fine. She can't believe he saved her. Kylo apologizes, saying he didn't mean to send her to this place and that there was an error in the report. He then gives her his handkerchief to wipe off the blood, but the girl is literally hugging the handkerchief. This makes him wonder if she's just lost her mind due to the shock. Agnes suddenly remembers that she needs to keep her act normal. Kylo asks her if she is hurt somewhere, to which she replies that it's just a little. She thinks it seems like the Black Knight troublemakers didn't check properly for her. This is great, after all she's getting to have a date with him. So she suggests that since he is here, they should go and check the area together. But then, they hear another horse approaching. Kylo's horse immediately recognizes the rider. Even Agnes is shocked. Why is he here? Raymond gazes at the monster and then at the princess. He steps down, saying to Kylo that he has once again caused trouble. Then he goes to Agnes to give her his own handkerchief to wipe the blood from her face. She takes it and begins wiping the blood off. This makes Kylo really sad, as if his own handkerchief was so dirty to her that she didn't even want to use it. Raymond then informs her that he has called a carriage so she can go rest there. Kylo notices that Agnes looks really angry, maybe because she believes he took away her chance to be alone with Raymond. But he only did that because he wanted to. Raymond then turns to Kylo and says that something like this should not happen again. He lets it go this time, but warns that the Imperial family is not a battlefield, and if Kylo continues acting like this, he won't be getting anything in the end. Kylo curses under his breath, calling him a dirty bastard. He knows Raymond is pretending to be a noble knight, but deep down, he's trying to win Agnes's heart just to become the king's son-in-law. Kylo is really hurt that Raymond treated him like lower trash. After all, he's the same guy behind the act, and Kylo plans to use a dirty pencil on him too, so everyone can see his true face. Now we see that Agnes is sitting with Raymond in the carriage, fuming. Why the hell did he have to third wheel her date with Kylo? And on top of that, he dies, and now she has to sit in the same carriage with him. But also it's the first time she's seen Raymond after her reincarnation. He is really handsome. But again, not her type. His chest plate is really small and he looks like a noble who grew up with way too much care. She likes them more rugged, more wolf-like. Besides, he doesn't even care about her. Still, she thinks she'll be able to win Kylo's heart eventually. So once again, she begins to act like she likes Raymond, as part of her plan. After all, the girl is equipped with dynamic eyes. She asks him why he's here. Raymond is a man who everyone has their eyes on. He is the jewel Agnes has always liked very much, so if she says she gave up on him, no one is going to believe her. Raymond thinks it's better to tell her the real reason so she doesn't fall further into her delusions. He tells her that he is here to remind her to refrain from doing anything that would further tarnish the Imperial family's name. He asks her to stop paying attention to him and instead play her role as a dignified member of the Imperial household. She responds coldly, so he's asking her to not bother him in the future and to act properly. She tells him that she understands she may have bothered him a lot in the past, and she will make sure not to get in his way anymore. The girl is clearly putting on an act, making it seem like she's genuinely hurt. A natural breakthrough performance. Raymond mentions that he's glad to hear this and hopes she will focus more on her missions from now on. Agnes then says to him that he really didn't need to come all the way here to tell her that, especially since, because of him, her date with Kylo got messed up. Then she takes her leave. Honestly, Raymond isn't sure if she really meant any of it. Maybe she's heartbroken. But he doesn't care what the matter was as long as she doesn't bother him. He's happy. After all, it's been a long time since he's felt this light. Then he goes to the Crown Prince's palace. The Crown Prince has already been informed. Raymond thinks that maybe Kylo has some revenge plans involving Agnes. But the Crown Prince believes that he can correct things if they go against what the king has assumed. He also thinks Agnes needs to learn some lessons. What shocks him the most is that she told Raymond straight to his face that she won't bother him anymore. Raymond says that yes, she said that, but the tone didn't sound trustworthy. He thinks it's kind of childish and dramatic to say such nonsense, but perhaps this nonsense will be a huge obstacle in his path. The Crown Prince agrees. After all, she's like a ticking bomb. No one knows when she's going to explode, and she's not even a problem that can be eliminated through hard work because she's not a simple stumbling block. She is the block. Agnes is an arrogant and extroverted hindrance, so the Crown Prince wants her to get married. However, the proud people of the Empire would rather tarnish the Imperial family's dignity than allow Agnes to be sent to another foreign country. Determined, the Crown Prince searches diligently for a partner for her within the Empire. Eventually, he thinks it would be ideal if Raymond married her. After all, he is the best candidate from his perspective and also a very close friend of his. But Raymond replies coldly, pointing out that the nobles still hold a negative opinion about Agnes. He says they should not allow her to further damage the Imperial family's name. The Crown Prince, however, insists that Agnes is still just a little girl who loves Raymond and, more importantly, his own little sister. He questions whether Raymond's words aren't a bit too harsh. He admits that he himself often complains about her and considers her a bother, but he argues that it's completely different when someone else speaks that way about her, especially a person like Raymond. Gritting his teeth, he tells Raymond that Agnes has already said she won't trouble him anymore, so there's no need for him to criticize his little sister in front of her older brother. The conversation between the two ends with a hint of tension and a little steam still rising between them. Meanwhile, back at the princess's palace, both Chloe and Emma are visibly distressed by Agnes's condition. Chloe wonders if Agnes has encountered a monster, as the bloodstains she returned with are deeply concerning. Agnes, observing their concern, reflects on how these two maids are known for being the gentlest souls in the entire social circle. She sighs and tells them that she might have gotten herself into serious trouble, but thanks to Kylo, she was saved. After all, now is the time to clean up his ruined reputation. If the two of them were to spread the story, it would be beneficial. However, Emma raises her eyebrows and asks if Agnes is certain that Kylo saved her. They both believe Kylo is the one responsible for placing her in such a dangerous situation to begin with. Chloe adds that she has also heard troubling rumors some members of the Black Knights under Kylo's command have been imprisoned for causing chaos on the battlefield. Once, as she was passing by a lit building, Kylo glared at her instead of offering a greeting. Both maids advise Agnes to stay away from Kylo. Agnes, however, shrugs and says it's no surprise that his reputation is as much of a mess as hers. The mission to repair his image is going to take far more effort than expected. She tries to convince them that they might have misjudged Kylo after all. He's the one who saved her. But the maids point out that she returned with Raymond, not Kylo. Agnes finally puts her foot down. She says they are not to mention Raymond's name in front of her from now on. The two maids glance at each other, curious if something has happened between her and Raymond. Agnes continues with an air of forced poise, saying it's not her place to speak ill of others. She is simply tired of being hurt and vulnerable. From now on, she decides, she will act as someone exhausted by love and heartbreak. She tells the maids she needs to rest after all. She was covered in blood. The maids quietly agree not to disturb her. Yet Agnes, with a sly smile, instructs them in a cute, curt tone to spread this tale across the entire continent. However, what ends up happening is quite different from what Agnes expects. Emma cannot believe that Agnes, who used to talk non-stop about Raymond, has now forbidden them from even uttering his name. Chloe remarks that despite Agnes's difficult personality, she treats her people very well. They've suffered under her temperament, yes, but the benefits they've gained at the Imperial Palace are truly remarkable. In short, what Agnes has given to Raymond is far too much. Emma wonders aloud if Raymond said something truly hurtful to Agnes. The two maids suspect that he may have used foul language toward her. Up until now, he had rejected all her advances, but Agnes never seemed this depressed. If Agnes was hurt, they believe it must be something more serious than simple rejection. What started as a rumor that Agnes was hurt by Raymond quickly mutates into something far more devastating. People begin whispering that they can't believe someone would say such things. The story becomes so exaggerated that some even claim Raymond told Agnes he would rather marry a dandruff than her, that she belonged in a trash can. Before anyone can stop it, the rumor spreads that Raymond has driven a metaphorical nail into the princess's heart with his unspeakable abuse. Eventually, the gossip reaches the king himself. The king is in disbelief that Raymond would say something like that about his daughter. The butler tries to console him, advising him to remain calm since the source of the rumor is still unclear. But the king has little interest in details. He already dislikes Raymond's family, a lineage filled with arrogant fathers, brothers, and powerful nobles. The Spencer family is one of the 4 major ducal houses of the empire, a prestigious and wealthy family whose reputation is nearly untouchable. Still, the king has despised Duke Spencer for a very long time. That man, once the empress's first love, had tried to stop her wedding at the last minute. The king is glad that she chose him instead, but he's never gotten over the fury he felt that day. What the crown prince doesn't know is this history, and so he made close friends with Raymond and even allowed his once innocent daughter to fall in love with him. The king cannot stand the thought of his precious daughter ending up as the daughter-in-law of that detestable family. If needed, he is willing to turn a blind eye and interfere directly. Despite everything, he had believed that Raymond might be different from his father. But now, how dare he make his daughter cry like this? The butler, however, believes there might be a silver lining. The king, confused, asks what he means. The butler informs him that, according to the maids, Agnes was so heartbroken that she said she never wants to hear Raymond's name again. The butler wonders if this means Agnes is finally over him. The king asks if the rumor has truly spread that far. The butler nods and says the gossip has spread so widely that even those who aren't usually active in social circles have heard it, including Kylo. He finds it hard to believe that Raymond has truly verbally abused Agnes. Kylo spares, but his thoughts remain tangled in a storm of resentment and bitterness. He has never liked Raymond from the very start. To Kylo, Raymond is everything he despises: highborn, refined, and knowledgeable, a man who had everything Kylo once yearned for but could never attain. All those qualities, all those privileges, status, education, ease, they came naturally to Raymond, and yet, he treated Kylo like garbage, as if he were a worthless thing crawling in the dirt. Blinded by his own power, Raymond reminded Kylo of a desperate man clawing his way to the top by stepping on others, and now Kylo believes Raymond is a bastard who even went so far as to verbally abuse the princess. In Kylo's eyes, Raymond is a despicable, vile man, a member of the so-called White Knights, who are supposedly tasked with protecting the imperial family, yet he exploits the fact that the princess favors him to treat her like a subordinate. Kylo cannot understand how someone like Raymond acts as if he were a noble himself, arrogantly throwing off any pretense of humility. Perhaps, Kylo thinks, Raymond got angry about that accident and took his anger out on the princess. The thought makes Kylo panic. If that is true, then it means the princess cried because of him. He once believed that seeing her cry would satisfy something in him, would prove some point. But now that he thinks about it, his chest tightens. It makes him feel terrible. He fears the Emperor may seize this as an opportunity to dismiss him, and he knows now that he must find a formal way to apologize to the princess. But therein lies the problem: he has no idea how to talk to women. His past experiences have been far from pleasant, and besides, unless he is wearing the knight's uniform, he is still just her subordinate. There is no way he can approach her casually or as an equal. As he agonizes over what to do next, the door opens and Agnes walks into his office. She immediately notices something strange. Why did Kylo address her as a princess, instead of using her saintly title? She guesses it might have something to do with the fact that she is currently disguised as her own maid. Or maybe it's because he saw the knight uniform hidden beneath her cloak. Kylo tells her that he is truly sorry for putting her in danger, but assures her that such a thing will not happen again. Agnes didn't come here to listen to apologies, but she wonders if she should play along with his mood. So, she tells him that if such an event happens again, she'll be forced to punish him severely. Internally, though, she thinks about what kind of a punishment that would be, maybe tying him up with her own hands forever. The thought makes her laugh inwardly. This girl really is something else. She then changes the topic and asks what happened to the area that wasn't searched. Kylo understands immediately. She's asking him to act like a proper knight. So, he responds that Victor was the one who cleared that area. She nods, but slyly asks what their next mission will be, though what she really means is, when will they have their next date? Kylo, however, replies in his usual serious tone, saying that there are no missions for the time being and she should focus solely on her training. This answer leaves her visibly disappointed. Kylo adds that she didn't have the chance to meet the other members of the Black Knights. In the original novel didn't provide many details about the group, so Agnes is curious, what kind of people are they? Kylo calls for the members present to give their attention and introduces Agnes to them. She greets them warmly, saying that she is pleased to meet them and hopes they will treat her as an equal, given that she is in uniform like them. Victor and then Anna introduce themselves in turn. But Agnes can't help but wonder, is that it? Are there really only 2 members? Kylo explains that some of his men are currently imprisoned. Some deserted during the chaos, others killed their enemies in a frenzy, and a few were caught making magical tools from demon corpses. The rest are on mid-range missions with the 2 Jeeves, making a total of 6 members. With that, Kylo excuses himself and tells Agnes to return to her training. She feels a wave of sadness wash over her. She had hoped they might be together every day. That's what she had imagined. But nothing is going according to her plan. Just then, someone taps her from behind. It's Anna, who has come to tell her that Coco wants to thank her. But Anna speaks so softly that Agnes can't hear her at all. She asks Anna to speak up, which startles the quiet knight, causing her to jump back. Anna explains again Coco and Naya both want to thank her. Agnes smiles, saying that Coco is a very cute name. She's genuinely happy that her fellow night cat is safe. Though it wasn't intentional, she's glad she was able to bring about some good fortune. Even Victor is pleased that Agnes was able to retrieve her cat. Still, something gnaws at Agnes's thoughts. Her eyes shift toward the terrifying weapons in the room. What the hell are those? She wonders, unsettled by their ominous presence. Agnes finally gathers the courage to ask about the terrifying weapons in front of her. She points to one and asks what exactly it is. Victor answers calmly, saying that the massive hammer is his personal weapon. Agnes then looks at the other, more grotesque-looking weapon, wondering who it belongs to. Before she can even finish her thought, Anna excitedly rushes in and declares that the weapon is hers. She then asks Agnes if she wants to take a closer look, even offering to demonstrate how it works. Agnes, startled and half convinced that her life might be in danger, quickly says she's not interested. But Anna doesn't seem to hear her at all. She enthusiastically explains that the weapon has 5 blades and that she's even applied a monster melting potion to it, making it capable of grinding monster bones in mere seconds. Trying to escape the situation, Agnes abruptly changes the subject and says that she's thinking about getting a weapon of her own. She asks where she might acquire one. The knights tell her that if she goes to the Wanseong craftsman, he'll be able to make one tailored to her. Anna suggests that they go together, and Agnes agrees, saying she'd be more than happy to go with her. As they approach the forge, the scene shifts to the craftsman's workshop. The source of the Empire's magical engineering lies in a unique stone, the Mana Magic Stone, implanted in the Imperial bloodline. It's said that the first emperor fused this ordinary-looking ore with his unique mana, creating the very first Mana Stone. Using its energy, he sealed the demons underground. But many years later, when the demons reappeared, people began using the Mana Stone to forge weapons again. They clung to the hope that someday, another imperial heir would awaken with the same power as the first emperor. When Agnes walks into the workshop alone, the craftsman visibly shivers. She feels an eerie déjà vu, and the craftsman nervously asks why she has come alone. She calmly replies that she's here to get a weapon of her own. The craftsman explains that to make her a proper weapon, it must be crafted using a Mana Stone that matches her wavelength. He hands her a selection and tells her to choose one. Anna chimes in, saying that when she finds the right wavelength, her palms will heat up, just like magic reacting to its destined wielder. Agnes follows the instructions, touching stone after stone, but none of them respond. They're all cold to the touch. The craftsman frowns, puzzled, and brings out a special box, muttering how oddly vague her wavelength is. He opens it and presents her with a stone usually reserved for the royal guard. Agnes is confused. This Mana Stone doesn't harm humans, so could it really be used for something as mundane as self-defense? The craftsman nods. In recent times, this type of stone has been modified for use by both humans and demons. She then worries aloud about the possibility of it being copied, but the craftsman reassures her. The stone is sealed with a magic pattern and will be destroyed if tampered with. She observes it quietly. He admits to himself that he used to think Agnes was immature and selfish, but now, seeing her in person, seeing how seriously she takes the Empire and its people, he realizes that the rumors were wrong. People shouldn't be judged from afar. He watches as her fingertips brush against the Mana Stone. It glows faintly, not burning her, and the craftsman confirms that this is indeed the perfect match for her. He then asks what type of weapon she would like. Agnes hesitates. Her first instinct is to say a gun, but then she thinks of a cane, something with presence and versatility. At first, she doubts she could handle it, but somehow it feels like the right choice. It's elegant, and with her growing strength, she might just be able to wield it well. Anna even comments that Agnes seems to have adapted to it surprisingly quickly. Agnes thinks to herself that maybe, just maybe, this will become her weapon. But then, her mind drifts again. What is Kylo doing right now? Victor and Anna seem relatively free, but Kylo appears constantly busy. There are no missions right now, and most people seem to be avoiding her. It's comforting to have this peace, but at the same time, it's incredibly boring. As she walks away, she notices a garden space, apparently reserved for the White Knights. She had already been planning to do something mischievous today, and this seems like the perfect opportunity to explore. After all, What can anyone do if she's caught? She is a noble, after all. In the garden, she spots familiar faces: Sirius, Diana, Hugo, and Lily, the very knights who had fought alongside Hazel for the female lead role. Lily jokingly comments that the king really assigned Agnes to the Black Knights just to empower the rest of them by comparison. Agnes finds the conversation unexpectedly amusing. Lily goes on, complaining that the king can't possibly mean to ignore the White Knights, especially after they've suffered so much for the Empire. Hugo responds flatly that they can't question the king's orders. But Lily pouts dramatically, clearly dissatisfied. Agnes notices that Lily is a commoner and wonders if her sharp tone comes from that insecurity. Then, she brings up something that has been bothering her. She asks if it's true that Raymond verbally abused the princess. Hugo admits that it might be true, and Agnes notices he's the only one responding to Leaky. She wonders why Diana is so quiet. It's unlike her not to speak. Then she considers Sirius, who's acting oddly close to Lily, and she remembers something. Sirius may be a flirt, especially with Wind Affinity, but he's so absorbed in his own nobility that he rarely acknowledges commoners. Yet here he is. Diana finally speaks, saying that Lily should stop talking about Agnes like this, someone might overhear. But Lily turns to her sharply and asks why Diana always interrupts whenever she's speaking her mind. Agnes wonders if Diana is uncomfortable with Leaky's commoner background. Lily, visibly upset, starts painting herself as the victim. Hugo, trying to diffuse the tension, sighs and tells Diana she should apologize to Lily. Agnes, watching this play out, thinks she should definitely learn this skill from Lily, that there's power in twisting the narrative. But at the same time, she feels a strange sense of alienation. When she was with Raymond, she had been innocent, naive, even. Now, she wonders if she too should begin using the tools of manipulation to bend situations to her favor. And oddly enough, even that part of herself, she finds attractive.